Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to go sail to Montserrat via our overnight stop at St Kitts. And in this video we've got the added excitement of actually catching a fish for a change. The first one this year. Oh, what's it going to be? As always, please remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel down here. Let's get on with the video. Good morning. It's 5:30. We've just upped the anchor. Getting finished off up there. And we're about to set sail, and hopefully we're going to try and get to Montserrat. I think that might be a bit too ambitious, so we'll probably Q flag it on St Kitts. Wind's just starting to fill in. We've got about 15 knots of wind now. So let's get going. There's lots of mud on the anchor, so we'll be a wee while. It's the 2nd of May, and that's the forest's moon. And that's the forest's moon zoomed in. We're heading to St Kitts, or maybe Nevis. All depends what the wind's going to let us point to. We're sitting at 55 degrees off our port bow, doing 7 knots and 22 knots of wind, and we've got all the sail up. Well, we had another fish on the hook. However, when I started winding it in, all the tension went off. Hook's still there, fish isn't. So I must not be striking it properly. There's also lots of sargassum seaweed about. So our plan is to go and anchor down at the marina, down in Ballast Bay. There looks to be 4 or 5 boats there already. Quite pleasant last time we were there. We've veered off slightly because it was right on the nose, and we wouldn't have made the channel between Nevis and St Kitts. So we're now going round the northern end of St Kitts, same way we did it last year. The winds have eased off a wee bit. We've just put a reef in. It's first reef in the main, and over on our starboard that's Stacia. We won't be visiting her this year because it will give us a really poor angle to get down to Montserrat. So our plan is to go to Montserrat and do an island tour. So we've been fishing this morning. We've just wound it. We've been fishing today, and we've just wound the reel in because we've got the motor on because the wind's right on the nose as we go into Ballast Bay. And earlier on this morning we did have a strike, and we did have a lot of pressure on the rod, and this is a new lure, one of my Trinidadian specials. And there's the proof, so the fish has come in and bit between the hooks. And when I've tried to start to wind it in, it's just let it go. Maybe need to think about a different lure. This is Brimstone Hill, and last year when we were here, we went up there. So this footage that you're about to see was taken in 2025, probably in April. Good morning. So today we're going to go ashore. Well, we're going to dinghy up to Epiosde, which is the capital of St Kitts, which is about 4 miles away, up that way. Then we're going to jump in the bus and go up to Brimstone National Park, where there's a UNESCO heritage old fort where you can go and have a walk around. Okay, so let's hope the dinghy can make it. Okay. This is the marina buildings where we checked in. It's very plush, built about 15 years ago by an American developer, and a number of boats in the marina? 4. And all the land at the lower end of St Kitts has all been sold off to developers, and the prices start at 4.5 million for a house, or for a plot. Then you've got to build the house. All tied into the same developer.
Well, this is Beneteau, the capital of St Kitts, and these images really portray the cruise ship's paradise. Not for us. The village has been constructed just for the cruise ship passengers to spend money, and we're out quick. Long before cruise ships and beach resorts, the island was at the centre of power, conflict and empire in the Caribbean. Because of its strategic location, St Kitts was constantly fought over by the British and the French. Whoever controlled this island held a major advantage in the Caribbean trade and military power. To defend it, the British began building this massive stronghold in the late 1600s. The fortress took over 100 years to complete. It was designed by British military engineers and built largely by enslaved Africans, whose labour and craftsmanship still stand today in these walls. An island often called the mother colony of the West Indies. Before European arrival, St Kitts was home to the indigenous Caribbean peoples, including the Kalinago, who lived off land and sea. In 1623, the island became one of the first British and French colonies in the Caribbean, making it a key battleground for control of the West Indies. In 1782, during one of the biggest conflicts between Britain and France, the fortress came under siege. Despite its strength, it eventually fell to the French forces, but only briefly. Today, Brimstone Hill is recognised as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, not just for its military design, but for its cultural and its historical importance. Walking through here, you really feel the layers of history, from colonial battles to the stories of the people who built it. St Kitts became one of the wealthiest sugar-producing islands in the Caribbean during the 18th century, powered by enslaved labour. That history shaped the island's culture, identity and people, long after slavery was abolished in 1834. In hindsight, we shouldn't have dinghied this far. On the way back, the seas were quite choppy, so we just skirted around the shoreline. A few days later, when we were next in the dinghy, the prop spun, rendering the engine propulsion a no-no. We now carry a spare one.
We then walked back down the road to the main road and got a bus back down to Basse-Terre. On our way back down the road, we came across this old lime kiln. Obviously, they needed cement to build the fort, and this is where they made it. It's now half past five. That's us up, just about to go. We've had a nice, quite peaceful night at anchor. We had to move, we were parked next to a big super yacht that had a party on it last night. And we're going to Montserrat. We're up early because we want to go to Montserrat. If it's too rolly, we'll carry on and go to Guadeloupe. Probably get into Guadeloupe about 7 or 8 tonight. So, off we go. Seven or 8 knots of boat speed's not helping me when I'm trying to get this fish in. And we also think we need to re-look at where the fishing rod is, because that's its third place now. Up dinghy and the arch all get in the way. What to do next? I don't know what to do either. So we concluded Irene holds the rod and I'll grab the line with my gloves on. Seemed to work. Well, Matt got the fish in, well hooked in 2 hooks, and it was a barracuda, and it was probably about 5 kilograms, maybe 2 foot in length, 2.5 foot in length, and it got put back in because we don't eat barracuda. Back to sailing. We're now sitting in 22 knots of true wind, going along at 7 knots, and it's a beat all the way to Montserrat. We'll probably have to put a tack in at some point because we're about 20 degrees off course, so that'll be about, I don't know, 5 or 6 mile tack somewhere. But the waves are quite big and we're battling into them. And I'm not fishing at the moment because it's only 40 metres deep. I don't want to catch another barracuda. We'll wait around into the big deep ocean and go after a mahi-mahi. So we're sailing along, there's a catamaran behind us, pointing higher than us and catching us, but all his sails are flapping. As is this guy over here as well. But his sails aren't flapping, but he doesn't have a lot of sail out. But again, we suspect he's motoring, because he's going at a fair rate of knots. And that's a lagoon excess there, and that one behind us is a leopard, maybe a 45 maybe. This has arrived in Montserrat, 44 miles in about 6 and a bit hours, and it's actually very nice. We're anchored in a place called Little Bay, and this is it here. So it's extremely open to the north. Don't know how they get loads of police boats. There's one there in front of me, and then that orange one ashore, another one. So what we'll do tomorrow is we'll go and check in, and I think it's that place there. We'll have a wee wander about, and then we'll see if we can get an island tour, go down and see the old capital, Plymouth, that's been decimated by the earthquake in 1989, I think. So that's the end of this episode. Thanks for watching. Please remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and you can catch up with us in our next video. We'll be exploring Montserrat. Saracen out. See you.